What do you get when you take a crew out to space from all around the galaxy? Stay tuned to find out. Welcome to another episode of Drone Talks. Today we're going to be discussing The Long Way to a Small Angry Planet by Becky Chambers. Becky Chambers, and narrated by Rachel Delude. So, this audiobook was actually recommended by a fellow booktuber by the name of Jess Reads. I will link her channel below so you can check out her stuff. She's great. Give her some love. And this is one of the first sci-fi audiobooks or books in general that I've listened to that's from a female author with a female narrator. Now, I wasn't sure what to expect from that, and I don't think I could even prepare myself for what happened even if I tried. So sci-fi follows a very narrow path for the most part. It's a lot of exploration, a lot of awesome technological gear, and some sort of conflict, normally either between ourselves or with some advanced alien species. Normally we are the inferior and somehow we triumph. It's a formula, and I really like it. So does this follow that formula? Well, yes and no. But before we get into that, let me just give a quick thumbs up, thumbs down to my less patient viewers out there. Do I recommend? Don't I recommend? This is a good time. Definitely check out this audiobook. Download it on Audible or whatever platform you prefer. It deserves some much due love. So now let's talk about why I believe that is the case. So let's start with story. So the story of this book is, again, it follows a lot of the tropes of your normal everyday sci-fi literature, but there is a very key difference. I'm not saying if that key difference is due to a female author or if that's just a different take on sci-fi. Whatever is the case, it is a much welcomed take. This book got very high reviews and recommendations from Jess Reads, and when she says something's good, you better listen. So this follows a lot of the tropes. Is there an antagonist? Sort of. Is there space exploration? Sort of. Is there new technology? Sort of. This follows a lot of those tropes, sort of, but what really brings this book apart from any other sci-fi book, at least that I've listened to or read, is this really does a great job of delving into the characters in this universe. So you follow this the main character, which it's hard to say. The book started out with her as the main character, but it really does diverge into the rest of the characters. But let me get back to the point. You start following Rosemary, and I believe, Rosemary Harper. She's the new person to the crew. Through her eyes, you get to know this crew. And the crew consists of Dr. Chef, who is by far my favorite character, Kizzy Shao, who is probably my second favorite character, Jenks, which is probably like my fourth favorite character, Sissix, which is absolutely my third favorite character, Corbin, which is my least favorite character, Loveless. Oh man, this is starting to get hard. She's one of my favorite characters too. Ohan, who he's an interesting specimen. And the Captain, Ashby, who is also one of my favorite characters. There's a lot of other characters. I'm not going to get on to all of them. But this is the crew. This is the ship. This is the team. This is who get stuff done. And what is that stuff? Making wormholes. Now, most sci-fi books like to shy away from these advanced technologies. They don't want to explain them. And why don't they want to explain them? Because they're unexplainable. We have no clue how this stuff can be done. Most sci-fi books, it's a relic from some ancient race that was left there and we're using it. Or some convenient means of explaining how we can traverse space. Not Becky. Becky said, I'm going to explain the shit out of some wormholes. And she does it through one of my favorite characters. Oh, it's so hard. They're all so good. And that is Kizzy. And with probably one of the best explanation of wormhole creations that I've ever partaken. It involves food and noises and a very detailed picture of how it's done. And I can say, after listening to this book, I'm ready to make me some wormholes. So, good job, Becky. You nailed this one. So, the story is really following Rosemary getting to know her new crewmates. And then getting to know each crewmate as each one has their own sort of story, their own sort of backstory, and their own sort of arc. And it's all revealed in a way that is just well done. Another item in this world where Becky just really excels is world building. She just, through bits and pieces, the best way to build a world, she expands this universe. You get a very good understanding of how we came to be, how humans came to coexist with so many different species, because there's a lot of them. Pretty much every person I mentioned, with the exception of Kizzy and Jenks, are from another race, and Ashby. Ashby, Jenks, and Kizzy and Rosemary are human. But Dr. Chef is a different race. Corbin is human, so I left him out. Loveless is an AI. Sissix is a reptilian alien. So you get all these races. Ohan is also a different race. And you get all these races mixing together. And it's funny because Rosemary, even though she's cultured and she actually studied on how to diplomatically converge and communicate and interact with different races, this is her first time exposed. And she runs into that culture shock. Something that I can definitely relate to when I was in the military and I started for the first time coming out of my shell and converging with people from different cultural races, even though we're all human. You know, some people don't use tortillas on their food, and that to me was just like, I was like, eat eggs with forks? Are you serious? Barbarians. But, you know, get past that culture shock and you get to know the individuals behind that culture. And that's where this book really takes off. This book is about love. This book is about family. This book is about getting past those cultural barriers. And there's a story, an arc. Pause. Sorry, I had to take that. There is an arc here. There is a story, a mission, if you will, that needs to be completed, where you get to know a lot of these individuals on a more deep level. You really come to enjoy them. And there is drama, there is tension, all that is revealed. The story is very well done. So what do I give this story? A 5 out of 5. It's very good. Very, very well done. So let's go to narration. Rachel Delude. How did she do navigating such a large cast? Because he just with the crew, and I want to say each of them have a pretty good amount of this fly. The only thing that you can be sure of in my videos is there will always be a fly co-star. I don't know what to do. I gotta buy me some fly traps. Just the crew is a large cast, but there's a lot more individuals involved from a lot of different races, even beyond this cast and the crew. So the narrator does a very good job in discerning the voices. I did have a little trouble. I'll be honest. I was almost all the way halfway through the book, and I still was getting several of the female characters confused. Rosemary has a very unique kind of voice and opposition, but Sissix and Kizzy, those two in particular, I kept getting them confused, and it was very hard. And what really ended up taking out was the lines that Kizzy would make, because she's like crazy, but in the best way possible. And Sissix is more motherly, but especially at the first half of the book, their lines are their emotion levels are like right there, and it was very hard to differentiate between those two voices. But overall, Rachel, great job. I see this individual going forward. She might be very established for all I know. This is the first time I've listened to her, but she did a very good job in what I would say is a very challenging audiobook. Just so many cultures, portraying different alien races, different temperaments. I mean, you name it, she did a very good job. The narration in this, the overall narrator, very well. So I would give Narration a 4 out of 5. Now let's talk about listenability. Would I listen to this story again? Absolutely. Was I dying to listen to it once I finished it? Not necessarily. This definitely is not a 5 where I just wanted to stop and be like, my mind was blown, and go right back, jump into that world. But I will listen to this again. I believe there's already a sequel. And once I get through some of my other listening categories, I'll probably listen to this again, because it is very enjoyable. And then start that sequel. That way I could get kind of that whole immersive experience. So definitely. Listenability, I would consider this a 4 out of 5. So that gives us an overall score of 4.3. Do I recommend? Like I said before, definitely pick this one up. You will not regret it. It is a good time. It's just sit back, feel the love. I think there should be more sci-fi stories that explore the interaction between different cultures. And especially the interaction on a romantic level between the different races. Spoiler, hint, hint. It is very interesting. It is very worth exploring. It's very endearing. This was a very light-hearted, loving book that I just felt happy every time I put it on. I cannot stress that enough. So definitely go check it out. And have you listened to it? If you have, what did you think about it? Comment below. Let me know. And please hit that subscribe, ring that bell to get notified. And we'll see you next time.